SMNI, tanggal prangkisa. Pilipinas, Kulelat. At China, umaamba. Kum sa for me. This is Avor Joseph, and welcome to News I Deem Worthy Recap Weekly Edition number 26. We have tons and tons to cover for the first, or at least yung second week, I guess, pero first week of December 2023. So skip the timestamps provided if it piques your interest. Get magandana for the place and select information. Here are some PH News commentary for your convenience. SMNI host detained in Congress. Kinulong at na-cite in contempt ang mga host ng Sunshine Media News International matapos ang mainit na diskusyon tungkol sa kanilang apparently false source, allegedly vaguely from the Senate tungkol sa sinasabi nilang 1.8 billion peso travel expenses at budget ng Speaker of the House of Representatives, Martin Romualdez, na nakipagbakbakan kay Duterte nakaraang linggo lamang. Ang mga host na si Lorraine Badoy, the former National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict o NTFL-CAC spokesperson and red tagging personality at Jeffrey Celis ay pinatawag ng House of Representatives over the whole debacle regarding their slander, I guess, of Martin Romualdez's allegedly 1.8 billion peso travel expenses as they refused to answer who their sources was, which they vaguely admitted to, or at least to be someone from the Senate. Sinabi nilang from the Senate yung source nila regarding the 1.8 billion alleged travel expenses ni Martin Romualdez, I think last year, or at least this fiscal year. Ayon sa kanila, they're bound by the SOTA law, which prohibits and protects media practitioners from naming or uncovering who their sources was to protect their identity and anonymity. Though most likely, it's a mix of they made it up and some tinge of actual source found after the fact, or at least after the fact na they had the agenda against Romualdez, although I don't have a horse in this race. The SMNI TV News Network has responded to the attacks by the House of Representatives and decried some cause for revoking of their franchise as stifling journalism and journalistic integrity, of which they know a lot about, considering sila mismo ay in support and their TV programming hosts of the witch hunt and push for the ABS-CBN closure, which affected millions of avid network and TV watchers nationwide. So when they say this is stifling and the attack of journalism and journalistic integrity sa Pilipinas, they know what they're talking about, although at the other side of the fence. But this isn't about them. The French group of SMNI TV network is a clear example of the government propagandist/aligned corporation disguised as a TV network, only given credibility by the very people they prop up, at least in my opinion. In the journalism world, I don't think Badoy and other SMNI hosts has the credibility to use integrity and journalism badge as a shield, considering they could relentlessly red tag journalists and activists nationwide. It's like Tucker Carlson somehow being leftist. They had relentlessly red tagged journalists and activists nationwide. Aside from the aforementioned Badoy, we have Roque, and most notably, former President Rodrigo Duterte. However, the closure of a TV network via revoking of franchises is a dirty trick to be pulled by the House of Representatives, whichever side they are on. Kung ang kanilang issue ay ang posing as legitimate news source, or at least yung paniniwala ng mga tao na they are apparently an legitimate news source, ay basically kagagawa nila. They have the political machinery that propagated that kind of news, or at least news in quote, lalo na si BBM that benefited a lot in the 2022 and probably even 2016 and any other election, kung saan nagbenefit siya sa political machinery at yung of course the propagation of fake news and misinformation sa kanyang kalaban at of course in favor of him. Kung ang kanilang issue ay ang posting as legitimate news source ang mga programming host ng nasabing programa, well, they could legislate the bad actors out of doing any shady dealings, considering they're literally the legislature. They can legislate it. It's in the name. Of course, the closing of a TV network will not stand when we pose for the Democratic banner the House of Representatives claim to fly under. They could legislate for TV networks to more succinctly and clearly put in disclaimers in the beginning, possibly middle, though that would be intrusive, and end of the program, along with guardrails to ensure that the integrity of news in general by actual journalists don't get drowned out by the numerous for interests like SMNI think pieces posing as journalism, again, in my opinion. Even yung mga activist group like the NUJP na naapektuhan sa red tag culture na nakultivate ng nasabing network at yung mga personality behind that network has condemned the idea of ever having the SMNI franchise revoked. But ayaw nila yun. Any form of revoking of franchises of a media or news network shall not fly, at least according to them. That kind of integrity by the journalists slash activist groups show na they just don't pick and choose between what's wrong and what's right according to some arbitrary ideological boundaries. Kumbaga, if they're left, they just don't protect the left. They also protect the right. They have the same stance against the ABS-CBN shutdown along with a diametrically opposed SMNI TV network. Although there were allegedly clear violation of some codes or at least the franchise violation with regard to advertisement disclosure in the network, mga product placement. Nagsabi pang sila'y mag-hunger strike in protest of being put in contempt. Ayon kay Badoy, ang kanilang democratic right to free expression is being trampled and that they're saddened that the Communist Party of the Philippines has infiltrated the government when clearly they have the unity team, Duterte and Marcos. It apparently wasn't apparent for her na she's literally red tagging members of the House of Representatives and probably the whole government. Kumbaga sinasabi niya, they are saddened by the fact na na-overtake na ng Communist Party of the Philippines or at least na-infiltrate na nila yung gobyerno. Although most people na nasa gobyerno is aligned with Marcos and Marcos is aligned with Duterte, at least for now. So are they saying that Duterte is also a communistly infiltrated person or at least yung kanyang ahensya? Now, just because things doesn't work out as they used to kung saan you're given free reign nung chummy pa kayo ng administrasyong Duterte doesn't mean na kayo'y somehow ino-oppress. Accusing the House of Representatives to be the cabal undermines the fact na isa kayo sa mga tumulong upang i-prop up itong mga congressperson na ito, even the president and Vice President herself. Your mistake was that you bit the hand feeding you indirectly. And I know na your allegiance is with Duterte and not particularly Marcos. You bit the hand that was feeding you indirectly by your provocation somehow. Si Senator Ronaldo Bato de la Rosa na dating PNP General at isa sa mga mastermind ng kanyang war on drugs at close associate ni Duterte is still an asset in the Senate. He has said na isa ang SMNI sa mga asset ng gobyerno in countering terrorism at communism sa ating bansa, which just goes to show you how much in chumps or at least how much of a propaganda machine, in my opinion, SMNI is. Marawi bombed after plausible terrorist attack. Nagkaroon ng malakas na pagsabog sa gymnasium ng Mindanao State University in Marawi City na pinaniniwala ang kagagawa ng mga local foreign terrorist groups na nagresulta sa pagkamatay ng 4 at 50 sugatan. Sumabog ang isang improvised explosive device o IED sa kalagitnaan ng isang misa in celebration of the first week of Christmas Advent at Peace Week sa gymnasium ng Mindanao State University. Ang pagsabog na ito ay after lang bigyan ng amnestiya ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang mga dating Islamic terrorists na kaanib ng Moro Islamic Liberation Front o MILF at Moro National Liberation Front o MNLF. Mga dating Islamic or at least separatist Islamic militant groups, possibly to derail peace talks. Matatandaan din nating noong nakaraang administrasyon lamang ay naging sentro ang Marawi sa isa sa mga pinakamalaking terrorist invasion or at least terrorist operation sa bansa with the Marawi Siege na pinamunuan ng Maute Group. Iniimplika rin ang grupong Dawla Islamiyya at ISIS sa nasabing pag-atake sa kapayapaan ng ating mga kababayang Moro. Walang lugar ang mga religious extremist groups na nagpa-proliferate sa ating bansa. That includes every faith. Ang mga pag-atake ng Islamic extremist groups ay hindi indicative ng kabuuang layon at pananaw ng ating mga kababayang Muslim. Ito'y atake sa ating bansa at sa kapayapaang matagal ng minimithi ng ating mga mamamayan sa kanilang pag-atake. Ang pinaka-naapektuhan ng nasabing pang-atake sa bansa ay ang kanilang mga kababayan at kapwa Muslim na gusto lamang mamuhay ng payapa, living without fear. Ang Marawi Siege ay isa sa mga pinaka-traumatizing at most destructive course of action na kanilang isinagawa na nagresulta sa pagkayurak ng isang syudad na unti-unti nagsisika para sa isang maluwag na buhay, free from harm, poverty, and fear. Dahil sa nasabing pagsabog, nag-heighten na ng alert ang ilang sangay ng gobyerno upang mapanagot ang mga naturang pinahinalaang terrorist group sa NCR at Mindanao. This just derails the peace talk between militant groups and the government. It also doesn't help na tutol si Vice President Duterte sa pagbibigay ng amnestiya sa mga dating rebelde.
Pero hindi ang pagbibigay ng amnestiya ang daan sa kapayapaan. Ang dapat nating gawin ay pagpatuloy ang ating mga nasimulan sa NTF-ELCAC at mas palakasin pa ang mga ito. Panalo na tayo, lumalaban na ang mga komunidad. Mr. President, the government's statement with the NDFP in Oslo was an agreement with the devil. Napatunayan na natin sa kasaysayan na hindi sila seryoso at wala silang sinseridad sa usaping pangkapayapaan.
Here are some more PH news for your convenience. Pilipinas, kulelat sa math, science at pagbabasa. Ayon sa inilabas na datos ng 2022 Program for International Student Assessment o PISA na nagme-measure ng competency through assessment ng mga mag-aaral sa iba't ibang parte ng mundo, isa ang mga estudyante ng Pilipinas sa mga pinakakulelat sa mundo sa mga larangan ng agham, siyensya at pagbabasa. Nakakuha ang Pilipinas ng math score na 355. 76 out of the 81 countries na nag-participate sa naturang study. Di hamak na mas mababa sa global average na 472. Sa siyensya na may nakakuha ng 356, third to the last sa mga participating countries at 347 reading score naman, pang-anim sa dulo. Isinasurvey ng PISA ang mga 15 taong gulang na mag-aaral ng iba't ibang bansa upang malaman ang kanilang proficiency sa larangan ng agham, siyensya, at pagbabasa. Now, I don't think this is Duterte's sole fault. Wala pa yung reforma, though her appointment did not help. Considering bago pa man siya naging DepEd Secretary ay talagang mababa na ang proficiency ng ating mga mag-aaral na na-exacerbate pa ng COVID-19 at distance/online learning. Isa sa mga for sure na dahilan nito ay ang teacher-to-student ratio na talagang napakalaki. It's like 1:60. Uncomfortable classroom utilities and facilities, economic inequality at malnutrition. Kasama rin daw ang pagkalulong ng kabataan sa gadgets, especially non-education or at least non-educational materials. 135 Chinese ships on West Philippine Sea. Namataan ng mga naglalakihang maritime ships ng People's Republic of China na nakahilera sa Julian Felipe Reef nitong nakaraang linggo lamang, 175 nautical miles from Batanza, Palawan, well within the 200 nautical mile of the UNCLOS or the United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Seas, meaning nasa atin, at least nasa domain natin, yung nasabing karagatan. We have no clue why they're there other than intimidation, show of force, and of course, incursions on the sovereignty or at least the sovereign territory of the Philippines. Binombahan rin ng water cannon ang ilang vessel ng Bureau of Fisheries and Agricultural Resources nang dumalaw ang BFAR vessel sa Bajo de Masinloc or Scarborough Shoal. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Albeit we are in the right para i-exercise ang ating kalayaan upang mapaglibot or at least mag-resupply sa ating teritoryo, China is a giant and we are the underdog. Kahit anong UN, Senate, or House of Representatives resolution man yan, we won't stand a chance. Alam kong gustong-gusto natin yung underdog story where David beats Goliath. But if we push Goliath too much, there will be no God to stop him from beating the crap out of us. This is not some movie where the heroine beats the evil stepmother. For now, we have no choice but to be resilient in the face of oppression or at least incursions or excursions by the People's Republic of China. They have their vested and probably existential interest online here, and it'll be foolish for us to think na they won't vie for interest and control sa ating rehiyon. We are not worth the geopolitical conflict. I mean, Taiwan pwede pa, but us, not that much. Unless talagang inoccupy tayo ng China. By that case, well, it will be justified for the US to, come in. Although that is also wishy-washy. Mindanao 7.4 magnitude and Luzon 5.9 magnitude earthquake. Niyanig ng 7.4 magnitude na lindol ang mga ilang karatig probinsya sa Mindanao noong kinagabihan ng December 2 na nag-cause ng massive panic at mass evacuation dahil sa lakas ng pagyanig sa pulo. Ang epicenter ng nasabing lindol noong December 2 ay nasa 29 kilometers northeast of Hinatuan, Surigao del Sur at may lalim na 26 na kilometro ayon sa Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Volcanology and Seismology o DOST FIVOLS. Samantala, naramdaman rin ang 5.9 magnitude earthquake sa mga karatig probinsya at syudad sa Luzon noong December 4. Ang epicenter naman ng lindol na ito ay nasa ilang kilometro near Lubang, Occidental Mindoro na may lalim na 79 na kilometro. Philippine Statistics Authority Inflation and Unemployment Report, November 2023, October 2023. Ayon sa Philippine Statistics Authority, bumaba ang inflation rate o ang bilis ng pagtaas ng presyo sa Pilipinas ng mahigit 0.8% from 4.9% noong Oktubre to 4.1% ngayong Nobyembre 2023. Hindi hamak na mas mababa rin ang inflation ng Pilipinas noong November 2022 na umabot sa 8% inflation rate. Para naman sa unemployment rate ng bansa para sa October 2023, bumaba ng 0.3% ang unemployment rate sa bansa compared to the unemployment rate of 4.5% noong September 2023. Mas mababa naman ng 0.3% rin ang unemployment rate ng Pilipinas ngayong Oktubre 2023. Kung ikukumpara sa October 2022 statistic na 4.5% unemployment rate. This was also apparently the lowest recorded unemployment rate since April of 2005, tied with November 2022. Mas mababa naman ang labor force participation rate from 64.1% last year to just 63.9%. Down 0.2% since last month this year. Samantalang ang underemployment rate, which is a bad thing kasi tumaas ang mga tao, at tumaas yung bilang ng mga tao na naghahanap ng pangalawang trabaho para masuportahan ang gastusin from 14.2% last October 2022 to just 11.7% ngayong November 2023. Ngunit tumaas ng 1% from October underemployment of 10.7%. 2023 bar examination passers released. Nirelease na ang mga 4,000 bar passers of the 10,000 bar takers ng 2023 bar exams na maalalang nag-take last September 2023 lamang. Ang ating batch top-notcher with a grade of 89.26% ay nasungkit ni Ephraim B. galing sa University of Santo Tomas. Sumunod naman ang mga top-notchers na sina Mark Vivet from Ateneo, Francis Francisco from San Beda, Nathaniel Tang of Aquinas University of Santo Tomas Legazpi, David Flores de La Salle University, Ralph Samaniego of UP, Brian Antonio of Ateneo, Pio Buencamino and Paulo Batulan from USD and University of San Jose Recoletos respectively, Grace Bautista of Angeles University, and Zes Non and Jason Chan from Aquinas University of Santo Tomas Legazpi and St. Paul's School of Professional Studies respectively. At yan ang pagtatapos ng News I Deem Worthy Recap Weekly Edition for roughly the 5th week of November 2023. Mag-suggest some more topics and or corrections to the balitas if you feel I misrepresented them in any way. Salamat sa mga panonood mga kabayang Vorme. Like, subscribe, and follow my links in socials and avoid Joseph that would be linked down below. Sa susunod muli, paalam. Psh!